Ready to dive into the world of AI?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
I mean, really get a feel for how we got to where we are now with AI. You want to be that person at a cocktail party who just like drops AI knowledge like it's nothing.
Like it's nothing, right?
Yeah. Well, you sent over some seriously cool stuff. Papers, articles, you name it.
Awesome. Yeah.
So let's do this.
It's funny when we talk about the history of AI,
Yeah.
it's easy to get caught up in the tech.
Right.
But really, it all starts with a question, almost a philosophical one.
Hit me with it. What's the big question?
Can machines think like humans?
Ooh.
That's what those early AI pioneers were grappling with back in the 1950s.
Okay.
It wasn't just about building like a fancy calculator or something.
Yeah.
It was about recreating the essence of intelligence itself.
Okay, so we're talking big ideas here. But how do you even begin to measure something as like elusive as thinking?
That is where Alan Turing comes in.
Okay.
This famous Turing test.
Right.
Imagine you are having a text conversation.
Okay.
You don't know if you are talking to a human or a machine. If the machine can fool you into thinking it's human, it passes the test.
It's kind of eerie to think about. Could I be fooled by a really good chatbot? Some days I can barely tell if I'm getting a real person on customer service calls.
Exactly. And that's what makes the Turing test so fascinating. It gets at the core of what we perceive as intelligence, even if it doesn't perfectly define it. But here's the thing. Even early on, there was this tension between trying to completely replicate human thought processes and just creating tools that could perform tasks in a way that seemed intelligent.
Right. So it's like, does it really matter if the machine is actually thinking or if it just looks like it is?
Yeah.
I feel like we still kind of debate that today even.
All the time. And a great example of that from those early days is Eliza.
Eliza, the chatbot therapist.
Yes.
That thing was way ahead of its time.
Created in the 1960s,
Wow.
Eliza would have these text-based conversations with people, and they would pour their hearts out, convinced they were talking to a real therapist.
I remember reading that Eliza mostly just looked for keywords and spit back canned responses, right?
Yeah,
But even that was enough to create this illusion of understanding.
right.
And the name Eliza is perfect.
Yes.
Just like Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady, who learns to sound sophisticated, but isn't actually from that world.
Clever, right. Eliza the chatbot, much like its namesake, it highlighted the power of language and how even the appearance of intelligence can be incredibly persuasive.
So we've got these early experiments trying to crack the code of thinking machines, but it feels like there's a shift happening. What comes next after Eliza and the realization that maybe tricking humans isn't the only path?
Well, that's where things take a turn toward the practical with the rise of expert systems.
Okay.
Instead of aiming for general intelligence, researchers thought, why not focus on creating AI that excels in specific fields?
Okay, so less about recreating the entire human brain, more about building like specialized tools.
Yeah.
What did those expert systems actually do?
Think of them like superpowered specialists. So you have something like Dendrol, for example, which could analyze chemical data and figure out the structure of molecules. It's like a super chemist.
Okay.
Then there was MYCIN, designed to diagnose blood infections.
Oh.
Talk about high stakes.
Yeah. So these expert systems were making real-world decisions, impacting things. Were they as good as human experts, though?
That's the thing about expert systems. They were incredibly powerful within their specific domains, but they had a major limitation: inflexibility.
Inflexible, how so?
They were built on a foundation of rules, programmed by, human experts.
Right.
But the real world, it's messy. It doesn't always fit neatly into those predefined rules.
Right, and the real world throws curveballs left and right?
All the time.
Yeah.
So this inflexibility led to what's now known as the AI winter of the 1980s. Funding for AI research, it kind of dried up, progress slowed down, and people started to wonder if those early dreams of truly intelligent machines were, well, pipe dreams.
Yeah, I can imagine like hitting a wall after so much initial excitement.
Yeah.
But something tells me this isn't the end of the story. I mean, we're talking about AI like it's a thing of the past, and last time I checked, ChatGPT wasn't around in the 1980s.
You're right. The story definitely doesn't end there. Just as people were ready to kind of relegate AI to the realm of science fiction, a new era was about to dawn.
Yeah.
The era of deep learning.
Deep learning.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's a term you hear everywhere now, but how does it fit into this whole AI timeline? What changed?
So remember those artificial neural networks we touched on earlier?
Yeah.
The ones inspired by the structure of the human brain? They were kind of like the sleeping giants of AI waiting for their moment.
Okay.
And that moment came with the rise of powerful computers, access to mountains of data.
Right.
Suddenly, they weren't just a cool concept anymore.
It's like those neural networks finally had the fuel they needed to come alive. More data, more computing power, boom.
Exactly. And with that, deep learning took center stage. Instead of relying on rigid rules, these deep neural networks could learn from the data itself, adapting and improving over time.
Okay, so instead of us programming a computer with all the answers, we're teaching it to learn, kind of like we do.
Yeah,
That's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
it is.
But how does that actually work? Like, give me an example.
Okay, so imagine you're teaching a kid to play chess. In the old days with expert systems, it'd be like trying to explain every single rule and possible move.
Right, right.
With deep learning, it's like letting them play thousands of games, observe the best players, and figure out the strategies for success on their own.
So less about memorizing the rules and more about understanding the patterns and strategies that lead to success.
Precisely. And one of the most iconic examples of this is Deep Blue,
Okay.
the chess-playing computer developed by IBM.
Yeah.
In 1997, Deep Blue made history by defeating Garry Kasparov, the reigning world chess champion.
Yeah. I remember that. That was huge news.
Yeah,
Wasn't that kind of a turning point for how people saw AI?
it really was. Here was a machine trained on a massive data set of chess games, outmaneuvering one of the greatest chess minds of all time. It was a wake-up call. Deep learning was not just a theory. It was a powerful force that could surpass human capabilities in complex tasks.
Okay. So deep learning shakes things up. Machines are beating chess champions. What's next in the AI saga?
Well, the advancements didn't stop there. Remember how we talked about ELIZA and its limitations?
Yes.
Just matching keywords, that could only take you so far in understanding language.
Right. It's like trying to understand a joke by just looking up the definitions of the word. You're missing all the nuance.
Exactly. And that's where the next big breakthrough came in, transformer models.
Okay.
In 2017, a research paper titled Attention is All You Need introduced the world to a revolutionary new architecture
Okay.
that transformed the field of natural language processing.
Attention is all you need. Catchy title. But what's so special about these transformers?
Think about how we understand language. It's not just about individual words. It's about the relationships between them, the context, the
Yeah.
subtle cues that convey meaning.
It's like sarcasm. You can say, that's great,
Yeah.
but mean the complete opposite.
Exactly. And transformers, they excelled at capturing these nuances.
Okay.
They were designed to pay attention to the relationships between all the words in a sentence, no matter how far apart they might be.
Wow.
It's like they could grasp the whole picture, the way the pieces fit together to create meaning.
Okay, so Eliza's reading the words, but transformers are actually understanding the language in a deeper way.
You got it. And this breakthrough paved the way for the large language models we see today, like ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us back around to the present.
We're full circle.
Full circle, yeah.
Yeah.
So how do these transformer models connect to what ChatGPT can do?
So ChatGPT, powered by a transformer model called GPT 3.5,
Okay.
took those advancements in language understanding and ran with them.
Okay.
Suddenly, you could have a conversation with an AI that could generate human-quality text, answer your questions in a comprehensive and informative way,
Wow.
even write different kinds of creative content.
Wow.
It was a giant leap forward in making AI accessible to everyone.
It's amazing to think how far we've come from those early days of trying to make machines think to now having these incredibly sophisticated language models like ChatGPT.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder what's next for AI. What's the next chapter in this story?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the exciting thing, and maybe even a little daunting, is that no one knows for sure. We're
Yeah.
kind of standing at the edge of the unknown here.
I like that. Standing at the edge of the unknown. It's like we've climbed this mountain of AI history, and now we're looking out at this vast landscape of possibilities. What do you see when you look out at that landscape?
Yeah.
What are some of the big questions or challenges that stand out to you?
I think one of the biggest challenges, and this has been a theme throughout AI's history, is figuring out what AI is really capable of.
Okay.
We've seen these moments where it seems to hit a wall, like the AI winter we talked about.
Right.
So a big question is, are there some fundamental limits to what AI can do?
Okay.
Or will we continue to see these breakthroughs that kind of push the boundaries of what we thought was possible?
Right. It makes you think of all those sci-fi stories about AI becoming conscious like developing its own motives. Is that something we should be worried about, or is that still firmly in the realm of fiction?
It's definitely a topic that sparks a lot of debate
Yeah.
and imagination, for sure.
Yeah.
I think for now, the AI we have is still a tool,
Okay.
albeit a very, very powerful one.
Right.
It's capable of amazing things, but it doesn't have like its own desires or
Right.
consciousness.
Right.
But even as a tool, it raises really important questions about, how we use it, who it benefits, and how it shapes our world.
Right. It's not just about what AI can do. It's about what we want it to do and
Exact.
what we should or shouldn't be doing with it. Right.
And those questions become even more important when we think about, the potential of AI.
Things like artificial general intelligence
Mm-hmm.
or AGI.
Right.
That's the idea of an AI that can truly learn and perform any intellectual task that a human being can.
So not just a specialist like those early expert systems, but like a true generalist,
Right.
like a human mind, but artificial.
Yeah.
That feels like the ultimate goal for a lot of AI researchers.
Yeah. It's certainly a goal that captures the imagination.
Yeah.
And, if we ever get there, AGI could revolutionize so many aspects of our lives.
Wow.
But it also takes us back to those big questions about the nature of intelligence, consciousness, maybe even what it means to be human.
It's almost like AI is holding up a mirror to ourselves,
Yeah.
forcing us to ask these really, really fundamental questions about who we are and what our place is in the world. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it that way. It really is. And ultimately, I think that's what makes exploring the history and future of AI so fascinating. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about using that technology as a lens to better understand ourselves and the world around us.
Well said. So for all of you listening, as you go about your day, encountering AI in all its forms, take a moment to appreciate this incredible journey we've been on, from those early pioneers with their grand visions to
Yeah.
the mind-blowing capabilities we have today. It's a story that's still being written.
It is. And the most exciting part is you're a part of that story, too.
I like that.
Every time you interact with AI, you're shaping its future, and in a way, the future of intelligence itself.
I love that. So keep those questions coming, keep exploring, stay curious, because the future of AI is a journey we're all on together. Until next time on The Deep Dive.